welcome back. If you didn't know, today is Traffic Safety Wednesday. I don't know what my shirt is. Traffic safety. Yours is. It's like a very Florida feeling shirt.
It's Blues Clues meets.
Is it really?
Well, remember Steve from Blues Clues, or
I never watched it.
He had a striped shirt just like this, green and blue. It's very. Maybe it's not blue. I don't. Whatever it is, this is going to be an awesome Bible study tonight.
That's right. We're both exhausted,
Yep.
And so normally that means, well, one time Chris was falling asleep, and the other time, well, I'm all right to push through.
Yeah.
But I almost fell asleep on the bed a minute ago. So anyways, welcome, guys. We are doing Genesis, the Gleanings in Genesis, Day 12, chapter 18. Do you want to read that devotional?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Here goes this devotional. Can we change the mind of God through prayer? God had decided that enough is enough with Sodom and Gomorrah. He was going to destroy them. Abraham pleads before God to not do what he intends to do. By his bargaining, we find that Abraham is trying to change God's mind. Abraham appeals to both God's mercy and his righteousness. God promises him that if he can find 10 righteous people, he will not destroy Sodom. And of course, we know that God was not able to find those 10 people. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, but God rescued Lot and some of his family members. Well, God didn't change his mind. It appears that Abraham ended up changing his. We find in Genesis 19:27-29 that the next morning Abraham is standing there watching the destruction and the aftermath. But never once does he question God. He just accepts the fact that God did what he needed to do. The only thing that changed was Abraham's perspective on God's destruction of it. And that's the point. Prayer changes us, so our desires will line up better with his, so we can have a better appreciation of who God is and what he is doing. God knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. In the situation in Genesis 18, God knew he was going to do, even if Abraham wasn't quite sure. But he also knew Abraham was going to pray. When we say prayer changes things, we think that we can do this. All we have to do is favorable for us and the ones that we love. And that's really the wrong perspective, because it should never be about us and what we are doing. It should always be about God and what he is doing. Always. We should approach prayer into the mindset of inviting God into the situation so that he can make the changes he wants to make in his way. Sometimes that may include changing our minds about what we think God should be doing. Prayer never begins with man, it begins with God. True prayer is never bringing man's plans to God for him to bless. God is always the one who proposes. True prayer is God enlisting partnership of man and carrying out his program for him to bless.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Chris was reading the devotional today.
Yep.
So let's see what you guys are saying. Welcome, Luis Opinion, Mr. Nice Guy, Riza F, Jennifer King, Real G's. That's right. We're like the old G's, old guys. Just kidding. We're not, but
Good.
wow, I don't even know how to pronounce this name. I'm sorry, I butchered that. My last name is Wa, and it's always butchered by people, so sorry. Brawl Gamer, welcome. Erdo, do you guys know Pastor Hugh Jass? Oh wow, I just said that. You made me say that. That's your fault. I apologize. I did not mean to say that. I'm embarrassed now.
Don't be embarrassed.
So, did you read it?
I'm reading, there's a couple things I'm reading.
Okay.
That's,
Warn me if I'm going to say something stupid.
well, there's a question about bottom.
Riza.
If you don't know what that means.
Okay. Riza, Carl, welcome. Carl, you're new. Thank you for checking in. I'm not doing English or Spanish. ESL. Lavore, Alabama family, thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing, Carl. Oh boy, Lavore. Okay, look, this is a wholesome Bible study, so I do know what that means, and we're keeping our eyes on Jesus, sir. I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
Oh, Lavore.
What's up, Rat? Vishnu? That's a cool name, by the way. The new voice. Who's got the new voice? Yellow and pink or traffic safety?
The new voice.
Latafa. Vishnu. Hi, Taco. Taco is our prayer method. Did you know that? I'm pretty sure his dad, Lord, is insane. What's that?
Don't read the Dixon comment.
Okay, I think I know the
Chip
guy.
Douglas.
Carl knows you. Where would you know him from, Carl? Elvis, we are gay, but in the classic sense of happy. So we're not messing with these words. We're keeping them what they are. Go get your dictionary, sir. Or ma'am. Gender, there's 2 genders and you can tell what we are. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
There's no hormone replacement therapy here. Thank you, Braden. I'm going to say that I'm the Viking here.
Oh, yeah.
He's the Sicilian. He's the Sicilian.
He's the Mediterranean.
Carl, we shout you out. Carl Beal, thank you for joining. Broad Gamer, B-Dub, Uncle Reckness, no relation, praise the white man. Interesting comment. We're not praising the white man, we're praising Jesus. And he's portrayed as white, but we don't really...
We don't know if he was white or not.
He was probably Middle Eastern.
Yeah, he was probably not white.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Eli Weathersby, what's up? How are you? Chip Douglas, do you agree with the teachings of Reverend?
Don't say it.
I'm not saying. You almost got me. Nice work. Almost. Thank you for subscribing, Eli, Julian Hay. Do we like Trump? I'm political. He's not. I don't like everything about Trump. Let's just clarify that. He's still a human being, which means that he has his flaws. I could get into that if that's interesting. This is a Bible study, by the way. We're in Genesis.
Yeah.
Can you spell run slowly? Because I feel like that's a trick. Just memes. Tell what is pink. Evangelist, Calvinist, Lutheran, Catholic. So I'm non-denominational. So Chris, this is Chris and this is Kyle.
Yep.
Together we are the perfect sniper. If you guys know who that is. Anyways, I'm non-denominational Christian and Chris is on his journey.
Yeah.
Is that how you define it?
Yeah, I guess you would say spiritual. I was raised Catholic. Some horrible things happened in the Catholic Church. That made me, veer away from religion and God, and I blame God for the things that happened. But now, as I'm older, and it wasn't God that did anything; it was man that did everything. God had nothing to do with it. Just pissed me off that it happened in the house of God, quote unquote. I'm in church.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing: is anytime it involves people, you could bet your bottom dollar there's going to be sin involved. So
always, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just, it blew my mind.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get church hurt from that, especially churches that aren't following the Bible closely. I'm going to say that that's going to be the easiest way to develop some, let ignorance cause some offense. But anyways, let's see. I think Taco, it's interesting. Your mom does ministry. That's cool. My mom actually has her master's in theology, so
That's awesome.
It's cool. She has even a different opinion than mine, and you would think I'd have a lot of influence from her. Thoughts on mysticism? Chris?
Mysticism?
I'm gonna have to look that up to see what is that actually.
Well, I believe that God gave us certain powers and certain things that we once knew we had and we don't know anymore. You know what I mean? I think I do believe in it, but I think it's God given gift that we're able to tap into certain things such as mysticism or or some people might call it magic. There was a magician who he was a firm believer in the Lord and everything, and he's like he talked about how magic was actually something that proved his faith and everything. And he said, the reason why we were able, it's weird. I have to pull up. It was on a show called Midnight Gospel. I don't know if any of you guys know what that is, but it was a guy who spent a lot of time in prison, and he was a magician, and he talked about how the Lord gave us certain powers and certain things, and I could be wrong, but I do believe anything that is happening.
Are you reading that?
I'm
just
reading
gonna say
one.
mysticism, so I'll just read it because I was like, I think I know, but is popularly known as becoming one with God or the absolute, but may refer to any kind of ecstasy or altered state of consciousness which is given a religious or spiritual meaning. It may also refer to the attainment of insight in ultimate or hidden truths and to human transformation supported by various practices or experiences. So the term mysticism has ancient Greek origins with various historical determined meanings. I would say that it's open to interpretation, so it can mean a lot of things. Derived from the Greek word meaning too close or to conceal. Mysticism referred to the biblical, liturgical, spiritual, and contemplative dimensions of early and medieval Christianity. During the early modern period, the definition of mysticism grew to include a broad range of beliefs and ideologies related to extraordinary experiences and states of mind. In modern times, mysticism has acquired a limited definition with broad applications as meaning the aim at the union with the absolute, the infinite, or God. This limited definition has been applied to a wide range of various traditions and practices. So, anyways, I think that was kind of interesting, but to the main point, popularly known as becoming one with God, like marriage, you become one with God through that covenant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, like, through the other covenants, like we just read with Abraham, like, you become one with God when you're doing that. Like, I think there's even, I guess I believe that the living word is something that we continue to carry with us. So I believe that that's kind of like a way to become one with God, but that's when you choose to walk with God. So I don't know.
Good point.
Yeah, so anyways, we could probably do further into that, but do we want to keep answering questions, or are these interesting to you? Some of them are good, other than you guys clowning around out there. But
can't praise
I do like
Jesus and be gay. Same too. Are you gay, Elvis?
Yeah, I think that might be.
Are you happy?
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Let's see. So thank you for subscribing, Eli.
Was Indo-Aryan?
Yeah, where do you see that?
Chip Douglas from The Cable Guy.
Jesus was Indo-Aryan. Oh, okay. I'm gonna search that real quick. Moment you mentioned religion, 30 people left the stream.
Yeah, of course.
That happens a lot. but that's okay. I mean, well, there's a lot of people allergic to the truth. I'm just playing. This is my belief, my faith, right? So like, but I do feel like accountability, responsibility, anything that challenges people. Eventually, we're gonna find that niche that is like on board with seeking truth and seeking like a healthy forward progression in their life. Which is why I admire Chris, because he doesn't hold himself out as a believer, but he's here opening himself up to um, the ideas alone, right? And I feel like that's something to be admired, and that's on both sides of the fence. So I said, hey, I'm down if we go through the Bible. My goal is to first learn this inside out because this is what I was brought up. This is my legacy from my parents as far as what they gave me out of love. But I'm okay. I think that God knows he's down to throw down with whatever other God out there. So we'll see how the big G Elohim does against the little G's. But that's my personal opinion, and I think that that'll be interesting as we go on that journey. So yeah, I mean, I guess we got another B-dub talking about Biden. I just think, I mean, I don't know. You can't tell me that that's the best candidate on that side of the fence. That's my opinion. But I mean, bring the best, right? Like, let's see a good political tussle, right? Mysticism, we went with, what's that other one up here? You have no, we're not asking that. Jesus was Indo-Aryan. I'm going to look that up to see what that.
I feel that no one knows what nationality or race Jesus was, and the Bible doesn't talk about it. So it shouldn't even be of a concern of what he was, because if it was of concern, the Bible would talk about it.
That's true.
Why, if it matters what nationality Jesus was, why is it not in the Bible?
Well, he was bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
Because he was not about any of the superficial stuff. Like, we hear very little of his appearance, but we hear a magnitude of his character, his depth of love, and his contrarian approach to so many things, right? Yeah. Which Indo-Aryan peoples, here we go, as a quick whoop. And it is on the north side of India, which we suspected. But y'all look like we need to sleep. We're exhausted, so this is one of our daily disciplines that we did miss out on the last 2 days. But we're so tired. I was about ready to take a nap, but I sure would love to. Taco, you want? I don't know what that means, but Brawl Gamer, you're a Muslim, but you respect us. We respect you too.
Respect you too, man.
And always down to at some point I'll be digging into the Muslim faith life and seeing, you know, I mean, I'm just curious. I'm on my journey too, even though I was more like a cradle Catholic Christian. Lavor Davor, it happened a long time ago, and all churches have graveyards, but only one was started by Peter and said to be the rock upon the lighthouse of Christians will hold. The Catholic teachings are solid, but yes, lots of corrupt people in there. Sorry to hear that happen to you.
Yep, it happens.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's any faith, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard of New Life Church, but that pastor got caught doing hard drugs and inappropriate relationships with the masseuse.
What church was that?
That was New Life.
Was that the real big one?
Mm-hmm.
The young pastor?
He was probably in his 40s or 50s maybe, but the point is,
dressed all trendy and everything, and
yeah, he was more like, he reminded you of like a guy from Texas that may have, you know, I don't know if you're judging him or using wisdom or discernment, he seemed like he had something else going on, in my opinion. but I never want to pass judgment. I saw him do some amazing preaching. But at the same time, church can't get that big without a lot of good things coming from it. But
Yeah.
the problem is a lot of people, they don't understand what happens to the followers when basically they make mistakes on that level. But they're only human, right?
Yep.
Um,
What was your comment? Endless senpai. Because I don't remember seeing your comment.
and just memes, FYI, I've been having a hard time about my identity right now. My pronouns are Nick. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. You are naughty. You know that. We will pray for you, and you're trying to set traps. But Brawl Gamer, magic is corrupt way to hell. So I have heard that magic is so I didn't comment on that.
Yeah.
But it is considered sorcery. So we actually get into that, I think, starting with Moses, and I think it's Aaron, am I right? But you'll see. That'll be coming up soon once we're done with Genesis.
Okay.
Or where is that in Genesis? I think trying to get my books messed up. But anyways, so do we support Israel? As far as I know, I mean, I don't know the whole story, but what I don't support is war. I don't know how you feel about it, but
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it. I Palestine and Israel, and I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you, because I try to stay away from that negative stuff. You know what I mean? And I guess that's ignorant of me to ignore what's going on in the world. But I prefer to look at the good in the world and not the bad things that are happening.
Yeah, I mean, focus on the positivity. We can't control that. So, even our enemies, we're called to love our enemies. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that really, if you're going to love your enemies, you definitely got to love everybody. So, I mean, and that might be an unpopular opinion right there, especially if you make it extreme. But in my country, priests are not rapists. I would say most priests are not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would, all the priests would be in prison. But I'd say most priests that I know are extremely wholesome and God loving and fearing individuals. But I personally, there's some things with Catholicism that I don't find in the Bible. But my mother still follows that, and she has her own opinion of faith. But I feel like we're not called to add or subtract from the Bible. So that's really where I land on it.
What was this again? What is this? It's a Bible study.
Yeah. But we got off on everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taco, the prayer method, it's great, by the way. I would love to come to Tanzania, by the way. And Endless Senpai, why was my comment skipped? Did you see that one earlier?
No, I didn't. Where is it at?
Or look, unless you say something naughty.
There is no Endless Senpai comment.
Do you guys? Yeah, we don't see it.
Yeah. What was your comment?
Yep. So please repeat yourself. I'm sorry. Anyways, guys, so we're jumping back into chapter 18. I don't know if any of you guys do Bible study, but it's actually really, I feel like it's good mental health, spiritual and emotional health, just to kind of center you in. The teachings of the Bible are contrary to the way that the world says to do things. So I feel like it's interesting to me legitimately of how you would approach a scenario if you're trying to have a biblical approach as opposed to a worldly one. So the application question today is, think of some ways in which some of your seemingly unanswered prayers have been answered by God. That's a good one.
What was the question?
Think of some ways in which some of your seemingly unanswered prayers by God or have been answered by God. So if you have prayers that haven't been answered, is God saying no, or do I have something better for you, or?
That's a good question. You know what I mean? There's a lot of prayers that there's a lot of prayers that I feel like have been unanswered, but at the same time, sometimes I think I wasn't praying for the right reason. I feel guilty about that. There's a lot of times where I would only turn to prayer when something bad was happening and I needed help, and if God knows everything is going on, He has a plan. You know what I mean? I should have been praying to help Him ask me see what the plan is.
That's so good.
Or ask Him to help me just trust the fact that he's what's going on is supposed to be going on. Which is hard because we have free will. You know what I mean? So for God to know everything that we're going to do, but give us free will at the same time so we can make any choice at any time and change our mind. But anyway, we're getting off on tangents.
No, I think that's great though. So like in a way that God did that for me was that things that I thought I wanted, I found out wouldn't give me fulfillment, right? So I've pursued so many things that are like the knockoff version, right?
Yeah.
So like I've pursued lust instead of love. I thought I was in love, and I was probably in lust.
Yep, that's happened plenty of times.
Right, and maybe even trying to build my own kingdom, and like thank God that I mean I went through the high of took a long time to build a lot of wealth, and then it all fell apart, and I thought it was gonna like nearly ruin me, and it actually has been one of the best things ever because really like it brought me back to God. So I feel like the wealth or accumulation of money is not bad, but it's the love of money, and so we get into that a little bit. If you guys haven't watched Myron Golden, he's great. I mean, his channel's not better than this one, but no, it is really good. He's got a business one and a Bible study one, but this is pretty good for just getting your toes wet. So endless senpai, you said Romans were white. I would probably have to agree with you, but I don't know. We are home alone without supervision. Yes. Most Jewish people today have Roman blood. Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of those nations too, they tried to breed out the blood, right? So that's pretty popular. Actually, Satan tried to intervene in the bloodline as well. So I feel like that's an interesting fact. But let's get to this last one. So the quote says, to say that prayer changes things is not as close to the truth as saying prayer changes me and then I change things. God has established things so that prayer, on a basis of redemption, changes the way a person looks at things. Oswald Chambers was the one that said that. So today, Lord, help me to pray, not with a demanding attitude, but with a submissive attitude, knowing that you have the best for me. Amen.
Amen.
I actually feel like that's solid because I think a lot of times we think like God, we just have a genie God, right?
Yeah, believe me, I've been there, and like I've asked for things that it was just selfish and self-serving, and you know what I mean. So thanking the Lord and asking to just keep us under His safety net, however you want to say it, you know what I mean? Like, so, and like, I don't know if I pray, I meditate, you know what I mean? And I talk to, I believe, the Creator, if that's God and Jesus, like I said, I don't know. But no, I definitely expected prayer to change things. And now I see that prayer is not to change things, it's to change the way you look at it, like exactly how it said. You know what I mean? Like prayer is supposed to help you strengthen that relationship with God so you trust in what He has laid out for us.
Amen. That's so good. But I think that's the challenge, right? Everybody wants to pray for the change to happen to them instead of the change to happen within them. And so even myself, I'm like, it'll be a whole lot easier to win the lottery than to go to work every day.
Oh yeah, I prayed to win the lottery many times.
Any of you guys have ridiculous prayers like winning the lottery? I pray for this person to fall in love with me. You throw it out there. But anyways, I think that's solid because it's like instead of like putting in the work and becoming the person that would be the right person for your romantic interest or deserving of the wealth or deserving of the promotion. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
But
I get it. That's a good lesson. Prayer is not meant to change the situation and things are happening. Prayer is meant to help us understand what's going on and thus to trust that His plan is for us, even if it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? My past doesn't make any sense that God planned that out for me. But then there's the whole argument of free will. Did God have a plan laid out for me, but He gave me the free will to work against that plan? And now maybe I'm on my way back to that path? I don't know. I have no clue. That's why I'm doing this.
Right. All right. So I'm going to read chapter 18. So, and we're in Genesis. So the son of promise. Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when they saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, My Lord, if I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant. Please let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will bring a morsel of bread, that you may refresh your hearts. After that you may pass by, inasmuch as you have come to your servant. They said, Do as you have said. So Abram hurried into the tent to Sarah, and said, Quickly make ready 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes. And Abram ran to the herd, took a tender and good calf, gave it to a young man, and he hastened it to prepare it. So he took butter and milk and the calf which he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the trees as they ate. They said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? So he said, Here in a tent. And he said, I will certainly return to you according to the time of life. And behold, Sarah your wife shall have a son. Sarah was listening in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abram and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, Also, I have grown old. Shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being old also? And the Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I surely bear a child, since I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh, for she was afraid. And he said, No, but you did laugh. And so I'll let you read this part from.
Cool. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Then men rose from from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing, since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of earth shall be blessed by him? For I have known him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring Abraham what he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all earth do right? So the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, indeed now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose they were 5 less than 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for lack of 5? So he said, if I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, suppose there should be 40 found there. So he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. Then he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. So he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. He said, indeed now I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 have been found there. So he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Then he said, let the Lord not be angry, and I will speak, but once more, suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went his way as soon as he finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Trying to find the righteous men.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think Abraham, the Lord knows everything. You know what I mean? Like he knows all what's going on, what's not going on, righteous, not righteous. Or Abraham is just human. And he has human emotions, and he doesn't know if there's righteous people there or not.
Right.
So he spoke to God to be like, I don't think it's right that you burn down the whole city if there are some people that don't deserve to be burned. And God said, I will not do that if there are righteous people. But there weren't any righteous people. God knew that.
And the question is, like, how big is that city at that time?
I don't know.
You're the historian here.
I don't know. I know of Sodom. I know it was a place of debauchery and sin. But I don't know how big the city was. You know what I mean? It could have been tens of thousands of people. It could have been 100 people. It could have been 2 million people. I don't think 2 million, but I don't know how big Sodom was. How many people were in Sodom?
I'm looking it up. Let's see. So, bear with us, guys. Sodom and Gomorrah. So, let's see what it says here. In the Aramaic religion, Sodom and Gomorrah were 2 cities destroyed by God for their wickedness. Their story parallels the Genesis flood narratives in its theme of God's anger provoked by man's sin. They are mentioned frequently in the prophets and the New Testament as symbols of human wickedness and divine retribution. And the Quran also contains a version of the story about the two cities. Does not say. The biblical narrative. One such, it has been suggested that if the story does have a historical basis, the cities may have been destroyed by a natural disaster. One such idea is that the Dead Sea was devastated by an earthquake between 2100 and 1900 BC. This might have unleashed showers of steaming tar. It is possible that the towns were destroyed by an earthquake, especially that they lay along a major fault such as the Jordan Rift Valley. However, there are no known contemporary accounts of seismic activity that corroborate this theory. This is the suggestion that they were destroyed by a volcano have been deemed unlikely. We have basically modern day USA. I totally agree with that. It feels like sin, which is against the law of God, is so accessible, right? I mean, how many things can we just access on our phone? I mean, we're pulling up this information, but that's not always what's being done, right? So I feel like if you were to look even proportionately, I mean, what about, 1,000 times? What about 10,000 righteous men? Do we have that? And where do we get this number from, So, I mean, I guess I feel like it's extremely unlikely to have that many people that are living out the will of God. And I know that that's like part of my underlying rationale is like, what if I was to be called upon? Am I going to be at that point in my life? So I guess long story short is I feel like, so let's see, how does that tie in with what was the point in the prayer and the devotional?
With the I think Abraham was praying to understand God, but not trying to change him. He wasn't saying, God, you're wrong, don't do this. Like, please, I pray for you not to destroy the city. He was praying, like, I don't know, maybe for understanding and for reason why the city would be destroyed.
Yeah, he pleaded with God not to do what he intended to do. We find that Abraham is trying to change God's mind. Appeals to both God's mercy and his righteousness. God promises him that if he can find 10 righteous people, he will not destroy Sodom. And of course, we know that he was not able to find those 10. That's wild. So, I mean, I guess it ties in with this, which way are unanswered prayers. So how were the unanswered prayers? So the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is that a way of God answering other prayers?
I don't know.
So
I don't know. I don't think it's a way of answering prayers. Like, I don't think, like, I think we get mixed up with prayer being something to get a result, to change things or to, and I don't think God destroying Sodom was because of prayer or not because of prayer. I think, God had his plan. That's what he was going to do. And maybe it may have been unanswered to Abraham, but in the end, he still accepted what God did and did not question his will. But yeah, I don't think prayer is to
change God's
change God's mind or give us a certain result. I think prayer is to be grateful and to thank the Lord for what we have, even if we don't understand it. And that sounds horrible, for thanking the Lord for destroying a city of possible 10,000s of people. Like, who wants to thanks God for killing people? But I don't think it. I think that it shouldn't be looked at that way. It should be like, I trust in your choice. And I
No
thank
matter,
you for
regardless what.
Yeah.
What, you know. And it says in the Quran, it is similar, though the cities are not mentioned by name. Abraham pleads for Lot's people, but is told that the chastisement cannot be averted. Lot is grieved when the messengers tell him of the fate of his people, and in the biblical narrative offers his daughters in vain to the mob. Righteous Lot is told to escape in the night with his followers and is warned that his wife will suffer the same fate as the rest. The cities are destroyed by stones raining down. Did it talk about his wife? I can't remember. Was I?
Who's Sarai?
Lot's wife.
No, it didn't.
Okay, well, I guess we're getting to that tomorrow. But anyways, I think this is great. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, comments, anything that we can pray for? So I guess you want to do some taco prayer method?
I mean, sure, I'll try it out.
Actually, I was going to do Acts today.
You can do that too.
We'll try crosswalk.com. It's similar, it's just out of order from the tacos, I think.
Okay. All right. So, thank you, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to be here with everyone tonight and to have a chance to even be in this experience. And I appreciate you doing that for me and giving us all free will and giving us, children and their free will. And I just thank you for giving us everything that you have given us and given us the opportunity to just figure this out and find the path and have a relationship with you. And, I know that I have myself veered way off the path. And I pray that you continue. I pray to thank you that you haven't given up on me and that you help me, you lead me onto the path, even though I don't deserve it. But I really do, I've sinned many times in my life and you still have not given up. And for that, I am very thankful. And but I just want to thank you again, like I was before, for letting us be here today, being able to work, being able to wake up, being able to fall asleep, being able to talk to my daughters, being a father. I thank you for giving this life purpose and helping me see it. Because sometimes that purpose doesn't make any sense at all to me. But I do trust that there is a purpose. And I thank you for letting me have that belief. And I guess to end, I would like to ask you to help those who are off the path find their way like you're trying to help me. I ask you to take care of those who need you the most. Ask you to take care of those who don't even believe that there's a God, don't believe in anything. I want you to love them just as much as you love Kyle, or you love me, or you love my daughters, or you love Justice, or anyone in this world. I ask you to take care of them and help them see the way and the path. Because I truly do believe once they see that there is a plan and there is a path, that they will find happiness and their life will ultimately become better. So, again, thank you for everything. And I am grateful that I will get another chance to have another day tomorrow. So, watch over everyone, watch over us. Thank you for putting Kyle in my life. And thank you for me seeing why that is super gracious. I don't deserve that, but anyway, in your name, amen.
Amen. And dude, I appreciate having you in my life too.
I do, man. I really do.
This is a hardcore life, guys, and shouldn't do it alone. I do believe that we're one body of Christ, so like we're all connected in various ways, and our function is not the same as one another's. But so I appreciate your prayer, and I guess I want to say something that's I feel like interesting, but kind of an answer to prayer. Is my grandmother has been in hospice, and like I'm not even joking. She basically was like, I thought she was dead. I thought she was gone, and we knew that she was like pretty drugged up, but we, like, I mean, to the point like being in bed every time I went by, and I've been by quite a few times, and she just was not. There was no life to her. But I go by today, and I like walk around the corner, or I'm walking upstairs, and I hear this voice, which I like recognize my cousin. And I'm like, I know that voice, but I don't know the other voice because I haven't heard my grandmother's voice in so long. But it was just crazy. It's like just wild that my grandma walks around the corner. She's walking like I haven't seen her walk in months, and she just comes around the corner like everything's fine, but she realizes like who I am, and then like she hasn't seen me, but almost like she thought she died and I thought she died. It was a super emotional moment, but such a huge blessing because you just don't know when those people are going to be gone from your life. So to your point of like, thank you for each day and moment that we have. God, you're just like, you just give us better than we ever deserve.
Yeah.
And thank you for that time with my grandma. It was great. We ate like 3 dinners because she was like starving because she's been like almost in a comatose state for I don't know how long, months. And so yeah, we had like 45 chicken nuggets, I think. But anyways, I appreciate it. You need a prayer. Slicer 77. Are you struggling with sin? Oh, I'm struggling with sin too every day.
Yep, I think everybody does, man.
You want to do that prayer, or you want me to?
You can do that one.
Okay. So, and appreciate you guys hanging with us. But dear God, we just ask for Slicer. Just pray out your veil of protection on this person, and God, just we lift them up to you in whatever way that they are struggling in a way that is against your will and highest love and care for their life. We just ask God that you can just give them the ability and the willpower to decide that the changes are healthy in a way that they can turn away from that sin, and that they can come back to what your plan is for their life, and that you provide purpose, and you don't have any knockoffs in the God I'm thinking store. I know that's not right, but like you have love, you don't have lust, you have nourishment, and not that we're going to be gluttonous and overeat. And the way that we look at things, we look at them in a healthy way. But God, I just pray for your healing to come over this person, and we just lift them up to you, God. And same for myself. I just ask that you deliver me from the sin and the impure thoughts. And I mean, today I was throwing a legitimate temper tantrum, and it was just bad. I had a horrible mouth, and it wasn't at anybody, but it was about the treatment that was coming at me. I mean, I like to plan my day out. I aim to be a highly productive person, but when people aren't courteous enough to stick to the plan or try to maintain a planning ahead mentality so I can prepare, it's hard to adapt, and I lost my patience in front of Chris and my son. So that's kind of embarrassing, but anyways, so I pray for you, Slicer. You guys come back and join us, but have a great night, and we'll be on tomorrow. So we love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy.